This video guides you through the process of completing a UT3, including entering data, validating, and submitting it to University Lands. How to complete a UT3. Oil and condensate royalty payments must be deposited on or before the 5th day of the second month after the month of production. Gas royalty payments must be deposited on or before the 15th day of the second month after the month of production. If payments are not timely submitted, the lessee will be subject to a penalty and interest. The royalty payment summary must be submitted for each check or TextNet electronic funds transfer payment at the time the payment is made. The lessee is responsible for timely payment of royalties and submission of documents, regardless of whether royalties are paid by the lessee or another person acting on behalf of the lessee. Please follow these guidelines to submit a UT3 due for any oil or gas production. Step 1. From the Compass landing page, navigate to the Enter UT3 page by clicking on the button, or click the Navigate button on the left-hand side of the screen, select Reporting, select Enter UT3. Step 2. When the UT3 header pane opens, select a company name from the drop-down. Unless you're an agent, it will default to your company. Step 3. Create a header row. The UT3 header is the first record an operator or purchaser enters when ready to report monthly royalties. You can do so by pressing Add a Row in the toolbar, or right-click on the dark gray portion of the bottom of the grid and select Add Row from the drop-down, or click on the light gray portion of the bottom row. Step 4. Prepare a separate UT3 for each check or EFT sent. If you're submitting a UT3 for oil, enter the total oil royalty amount. If you're only submitting a gas payment, enter 0 in this field. This is the aggregate for all the check details containing oil payments. Upon sending, the summation of all royalties listed in the details line sum to this value. This total should exactly match the amount of the payment made to University Lands. Step 5. If you're submitting a UT3 for gas, enter the total gas royalty amount. If you're only submitting an oil payment, enter 0 in this field. Step 6. After entering the values in the header fields, press the Enter key to move the row of data from the gray bar into the body of the grid. Step 7. Save the header by either pressing the Save Toolbar button or right-click over the row of data and select Save from the drop-down. If the header is not saved and the user proceeds to enter check details, those check details are not saved. Step 8. Create a check detail row. Make sure that the header row is selected with the cursor to expand the check details grid. The check header contains totals for both oil and gas products. The check detail grid will show, once complete, all combos and products for the highlighted row selected in the check header grid above. To add a row, either press Add a Row in the toolbar, or right-click on the dark gray portion and select Add Row from the drop-down, or click on the light gray portion of the bottom row. Step 9. Enter the Your Property number. This field is optional, but it can be used by reporters as an internal identifier for a property. Step 10. Enter the university lease number. Note that the property comma in the check detail does not need to belong to the company submitting the UT3. Any company can submit a UT3 for any other company's properties as long as the company submitting the UT3 is the payer who submitted the payment. However, the payments are only applied to that property if the company specifies the third-party payer on their UT1 or UT2 report. Step 11. Enter the RRC, lease, or permit number. This is the identifying number issued by the Railroad Commission. The permit number is used until the RRC number is assigned. Once the RRC number is assigned, you must notify University Lands and begin reporting with the RRC number. Step 12. Enter the RRC district. This is the district code assigned by the Railroad Commission. Step 13. Enter the RRC type. Note this is not the product type which you are reporting. This is the Railroad Commission's designation of the well type as either oil well or gas well. Enter O for oil or G for gas. Step 14. If there is a unit associated with the payment, enter the unit number. If not, leave this field blank. Step 15. If a unit number is entered, either a tract number must be entered or a unit level disposition must be selected from the drop-down menu. Step 16. Enter the production date in the field titled Production Month. Step 17. Enter the check detail oil payment. Each row can only have an oil payment or a gas payment detail. Step 18. If you do not enter an oil payment, enter a gas payment. Step 19. After entering a value in the last field, press the Enter key to move the row of data from the gray bar into the body of the grid. To add additional check details, repeat steps 7 through 17. Step 20. Save the entries made in the grid by either pressing the Save toolbar button or right-click over the row of data in any grid and select Save from the drop-down. Step 21. Validate the header and check details by pressing the Validate toolbar button. If the record returns a status of error, navigate through the grids to identify the errors by the error or warning icon. Any error prevents the record from validating and sending. If there are any errors, correct the errors, save and validate again. When the validation process completes with no errors, click on the checkbox field to the left of the header record to send. If the box is checked, an X appears in the field, indicating that the record is selected to send. Click the Send button to submit all UT3 headers and check detail records with checked boxes in the property grid to University Lands. Finally, when a UT3 is matched to the payment received by University Lands, the record has a locked status and then becomes read-only. This concludes the How to Complete a UT3 tutorial. Should you require additional assistance, please contact your University Lands analyst.